Hello everybody, this is Lila in Hawaii. I hear some birds twittering outside the window. Don't know if you can hear them. Anyway, I was going to show you one of my paper doll hangers. It's actually kind of a tassel, and I've made lots of these before, and I think if I'm not mistaken there should be some videos of them from quite a while back. Anyway, here's a new one. And I'm just going to go over how I do it. Sometimes I sew the materials on, but sewing through the cardboard is not always the best idea for things. And so this time I'm pretty much gluing everything on. The first thing I did was I printed off a woman's image that I liked, and it's actually that long down to there. And I put it onto, I think it was cereal box, and then painted the back of the cereal box, and then added some lace pieces to the box back, or the image back, just to cover it up. And then I left some of the lace that I'd used sort of showing around there, and it can be a hat. And under the hat, under this part of, between the lace and the hat, I put a little gold, it's just some thread really, little gold bow. And then she was holding something, so I gave her a fan, and that is a charm, that fan there. So I think what I'll do is I'll kind of show you, try and work with you. The first thing I do is I choose about 6 inches of lampshade fringe, or maybe from a dance company, that kind of fringe. Kind of hard to get now, but this is old. I've had it for a long time, and it's about 6 inches wide, and I fold it up and glue it onto the bottom of the image like that. And then on either side of that I glued on a piece of netting, just 2 straight pieces. It's kind of like a filler, you might say. Most of this is just filling the spaces. Then I took a piece of lace, old lace that I coffee dyed, and I've draped that around. And the way I do that is, it was an oblong piece, and I ran a little bit of a gathering stitch up there to give it more shape so that it hangs like that. I don't think you can see if I move it. Anyway, the next thing to do is put something around the waist, and I'm going to put a bow. And I have this very old Makuba ribbon, and it's in that sort of green that's in her hat. So I'm going to put that around her waist here. So the first thing I do is get something around the waist, and it could be trim or ribbon or just whatever you really fancy. Oh dear, now I got that facing the wrong way. I don't like it when the ribbon loops are the wrong way. Okay, so I think I got that kind of right. Okay, so I'm going to pull that down a bit just to make it. It was about 2 feet of ribbon. Okay, now I think at this point I need to put some glue because it's not holding too well in the spot I want it. So I'm using this glue, and I put a good piece of it there, good dollop of it, whatever you want to say. So I'm just going to put that there, and that's just to start it off. So now she's almost dressed really. She could be fine just like that. I have added one of the pieces of the fringe as a hanger to the back there. When I'm making these dolls, I think vintage things like gathers, I feel like there could be shawls. She's wearing a shawl. Not really going to give her a shawl. I think of bustles. I think of Richelieu. I just think of different old-fashioned ways she could be decorated. Now I've got this piece of, I think it's fine lawn from a handkerchief, and I tea-dyed it and gathered it up, and it's got that little crocheted edge that I really like. And I'm going to add that to her back just to give her a little more sort of substance. So to do that, I'm going to put it down that way And I'll have to really play with this to see where I want it exactly. It's a question of just sort of molding it to where I want it. Okay. And I'll cut off all the loose threads and things later. Let's see if that's any good. While it's wet, you can reposition it, of course. So I do it on the back and then hope for the best, and if it's not quite where I want, oh yeah, that looks good. So there's that. That looks good. Let's see if that's any better. There we go. So I've got that there. I'm just going to put her down a minute and just play with it a little more. And I will have to add something to the back now that I've done that to cover it. So I will be, not on camera, but I'll be adding some more of this pink lace that I dyed just to cover that. But anyway, that's that, and it just gives a little extra dimension to the doll there. Now the only other thing is I thought she might like some flowers. So I'm going to glue down her ribbon ends. And this is where you probably need pins. And I made some flowers. Okay, this is the first one I made. It's a little rose with a ruffledy leaf. I made that with seam binding. So that's going to go, and I've got to pin through it because it'll have to be held on with pins for a while. Usually pin my finger on. Okay, this one is a little satin rose with 2 leaves. This one's a purchased one, and I forgot to bring a pin for this one, so just hoping this won't be too bad. Okay, and then the last one, I tried to choose colors that were in her bodice and her hat. This one's another little rose I wound and put a little leaf. And sometimes they're all made with seam binding. Sometime, if you want, I can show you. Well, actually, here is the pin for that one. Okay, so I found the pin for this one, which I thought I didn't have. Okay, and then I've got a pin in this one. Of course, I'll be removing the pins later, won't I? Oh my goodness, this is kind of tricky. Okay. So there are the pins, or the roses pinned on, I should say, and I will remove those later. There's that. So now she's done. That's easy, isn't it? Not much sewing. The only hand sewing really was making the flowers. So I'm just going to pick up the camera. Let's see if I can do it this way. She's so long, it's kind of hard to get it all in the camera. There she is. She's very pretty. I like her face. I like this one. It's very nice. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Goodbye.